Good morning to all for our Northeast Tennessee, Virginia Home Consortium Board meeting. Christina, can we do a roll call?
Yes. Let me get to that. Chairman Chad Keene.
Here.
Sherry Green is absent today. Amber Torbett.
Here.
Thank you. Ellen Tolton.
Here.
Stephen Freeman.
Here.
Jessica McMurray.
Here.
And Mayor Wells.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Now, can you go for us with the necessity for conducting electronic meeting, Christina, please?
Yeah, of course. Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16, which has been extended through April 28, 2021 by Executive Order number 78, suspended the provisions of the Open Meetings Act to the extent necessary to allow governing bodies to conduct their essential business by electronic means, rather than being required to gather a quorum of members physically in the same location. One condition of the meeting electronically is that if a member of, well, that should say Home Consortium, I'm sorry guys, it says CDAC, or staff is attending by audio only, they are asked to identify themselves by name and position when they speak. In order to proceed with the meeting electronically, the governing body should make a determination that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. At this time, it would be appropriate for the members to discuss whether they believe that meeting electronically is necessary and vote accordingly. If the members do not agree that meeting electronically is appropriate at this time, then this meeting should be adjourned until such time as the members can meet in person.
Okay, any discussion on conducting our meeting electronically? If none, if no one objects, then we'll need a motion and a second, and then a roll call vote.
I make a motion to have this meeting electronically.
I second it.
Yeah, this is Ellen with Bristol.
Thank you. Okay. Chairman Chad Keene.
Yes.
Sherry Green absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Thank you. Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of minutes from our January 12th meeting. Are there any corrections that need to be made to those minutes? Having heard of none, we would need a motion and a second to vote on those minutes.
I make that motion to approve.
Thank you, Amber.
I'll second.
Thank you, Stephen. Chairman Chad Keene.
Yes.
Sherry Green absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells.
I was not present. I had a death in the family.
Okay. Okay. Still good, Chad.
Next on our agenda is Bill and Renee with the First Tennessee Development District status of projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are beginning to make some progress and been working closely with Christina on several projects. And so I'm going to turn it over to Renee and let her give the presentation this morning.
Okay. As for homeownership, we have completed one homeownership in Sullivan County, and then we've received 2 payoffs within Sullivan County. These are ones that were granted in previous years. And then we have 1 pending payoff in Johnson City. So those funds will be added back to the homeownership category once those are concluded. For the rehab and reconstructions, we have completed the rehab in Bluff City. So the current balance that is shown for that category for Bluff City is what is available for upcoming projects. Johnson City, we've got 2 projects going right now. One of them is a reconstruction, and we have had the demo inspection completed on that. And last time I talked with the contractor, they were working on the footers. And then a rehab, which we had the 50% inspection completed on that, which we've already submitted a request for payment. And I believe it's in the final process of the final inspection. So that one should be concluded shortly as well. We've got several. We just last week signed a reconstruction with the Bristol, Virginia project that we have going on, and one of the Washington County projects that we have. We've got several coming up for the next round of bid outs. We're hoping to have that around the last week in April or first week in May. There will be several rehabs on that, and possibly 2 reconstructions on that one as well. And then we're also looking down the list for the next round of projects to do environmental reviews on to get those started. So with regards to the Chodo partner projects right now, Eastern 8 has signed agreements with the contractor to start construction on theirs on Maxwell Avenue in Kingsport. And then with the People Inc. project, we've been working on the environmental assessment for that project, and it wasn't quite narrowed down yet as to whether it would have been a duplex or a single family residential unit. Because of after rehab value limits, it looks like the numbers are going to work for the single family residential unit. They really wanted to try to do duplex, but the total project costs were going to come back in substantially higher than what the after rehab value limits are. So that amount of funding will be we'll be looking at the subsidy limit for a 3-bedroom home, which is $149,761 for that project. We were trying to get the environmental assessment concluded by the end of April. I think their 30-day, 60-day deadline was April 25th. I have advised them that we still have a few remaining consultation requests left. So I'm not sure if we will get that done by April 25th, but they are aware of that. So, and they're making arrangements accordingly with regards to purchase of the lot. I told them I would keep them up to date as we get closer to being finished with regards to any anticipated problems with the environmental assessment. So, and I think that's.
I have a question.
Okay.
You said that on the property on Railroad Street that you still needed $20,000 some in order that you would be able to do that project. Is that still the same?
Well, in speaking with that applicant, it was determined, our construction manager determined that would probably need to be a reconstruction. And speaking with the applicant, she really does not want the house reconstructed. So she has been in contact with ASP, and they were hoping to have a round of volunteers this summer. They said she was on their list to do projects if they had volunteers this summer. And then she's also looking to USDA Rural Development for a loan to do some additional repairs. So she was asking us if we could come in after that work is done and do what repairs may be left to do. And we have been talking with our construction manager about that. So that is a possibility. It just depends what they can do with those other organizations to see if we could bring that in as a rehab.
Is that other stimulus money out there?
You mean from the other organizations or for what you've got in your funding?
No, what, let's see, what was the name of that? Where they were fixing roofs. I thought when we talked that you said she really only wanted to fix a roof.
That was her main concern, was the roof. You know, our construction manager, when we look at projects, we have to bring the items up to code. So there were other items that our construction manager noted that needed to be brought up to code, and that's the reason why he was looking at it as a reconstruction. But if ASP is able to do some of the outside work, and then she utilizes the rural development loan to do additional work, the remaining work that needs to be done, it's possible it could be done as a rehab. Again, we have to work with our construction manager to see if that's going to be feasible.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I was going to ask, what kind of updates can you tell us about material cost and labor cost, and what things look like over the next six to 12 months pertaining to that?
Mr. Chairman, that's one of the things we're going to discuss in new business as well. But yes, material costs are of course outrageous. What we're hearing is it's 108% year over year increase in a lot of the materials. A 2x4 now is over $7. And so it is really driving the cost up of our projects, not only the reconstructions, but the rehabs as well. It's just becoming very difficult to get some of these projects completed due to the fact that, you know, you've just got materials, and there's some shortages. Those are starting to subside at this point, but the cost factor is becoming an issue.
Did you say an overall increase of 108% on materials?
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Year over year.
Okay, well, you can expand on it if you want later. Is there anything other that we need to discuss under the status of projects?
I don't think so. I think we're good there. If everybody else doesn't have any other questions.
Okay, Christina, I think we're moving to old business now.
Chairman King, we are. However, I have that we don't have any old business, and we did not when I sent out the agenda for this meeting. However, after Renee just talked about People Incorporated, and we had kind of discussed this a little bit in the last board meeting, but we'll need a motion, a second, and roll call to approve moving forward with their single family residential unit. With that subsidy level of $149,761 for that project. I know the environmental assessment is still in the works. However, you guys have wanted to support People Inc. for a long time, but they just had not given us a project that could meet the necessary guidelines. So, Renee, do you feel comfortable with what was presented from People Incorporated?
I do. I believe with the amount that they're doing for acquisition for the lot, and then the amount of subsidy, what they're expecting to construct the property for, I believe it will fall in under the after rehab value limits that we have to go by, or the home value limits.
Okay, so we'll, and you know, something could happen and this could, you know, fizzle out. You just never know with this CHODO funding, but I think it would be good for the board to go ahead and discuss it, make a motion, somebody second, and let's approve this and go ahead and get this working in the system before our next board meeting, if possible.
So, Christina, you mentioned People Incorporated, but you mentioned the amount that's under Eastern 8 of $149,761. Are we wanting a motion for both of those, the Eastern 8 and People Inc.?
So the Eastern 8 has already been approved, and they've signed contracts, and they're moving forward completely. People Inc., we were actually waiting on for a project, and they brought us, if you remember, we were talking about potentially doing a duplex with them But the maximum subsidy limit on a single family residential unit is $149,761, which is what we gave to Eastern 8, which is what we would have to give to People Incorporated too. They had up to that $152,000, but we'll have to do the maximum subsidy limit for that area. So
I see.
that makes sense to everybody?
Okay.
So we'll just need somebody to make a motion and a second to approve moving forward with the People Incorporated CHODO funding.
I make a motion that we proceed with the project as discussed with People Inc. as the CHODO.
Thank you.
Do we have a second? I'll second.
Amber Torbett.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Christina?
Chairman Chad King.
Yes.
Sherry Green is absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray. Jessica.
Yes.
Thank you. And then Mayor Wells.
Since I wasn't at the last meeting, I'll abstain.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now are we ready to go to old business?
To new business.
Or that was our
That
old
was old business.
right? So now we're moving on to new business, Christina and Bill.
Okay, so let me start, Bill, and I'm going to turn it over to you in just a second. Bristol, Virginia, Ellen, is asking to transfer some of her home ownership money into her rehab reconstruction funds in the amount of $15,000. She has the money. It's just a formality that the board needs to approve it since it has already been designated to that slot. So it's no big deal. We do this all the time. But would someone give us a motion, a second, and we'll have to roll call for the funding to be transferred from home ownership to rehab reconstruction so Bristol, Virginia can finish a project.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Okay, Chairman King.
Yes.
Sherry Green is absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I emailed out the draft 2021 HUD action plan to you guys in the midst of all this. Now, I will tell you that since I've emailed it out, we have found a couple of typos that are going to need to be corrected. Ann Cooper with Arch is also working on a paragraph that she wants to include. So we'll be including that, but it doesn't change the actual content of the action plan. And Johnson City, unfortunately, you guys, I put in your allocation, but not your carryover. So I have now fixed that. I've now fixed that on this draft version that will go out to everybody. But does anybody have any questions about the action plan? There's percentages in there. And again, it has a 30-day comment period, and then we'll present the final draft action plan to City Council in their May council meeting.
Is it possible for Bluff City to get any more money than what they get?
Well, you guys get more money than would normally be allocated, Irene. If we did it a percentage wise, it was a nominal amount. So the board approved a long time ago to give you a flat $10,000. And I know that's not a lot of money, but coming up, we're not going to put it in this action plan, but and I was going to announce it in the announcement section, but the Home Investment Partnership Program, which is our home program, American Rescue Plan formula allocations were just announced last Thursday, and it looks like our home consortium will be receiving an additional allocation of over $4 million. Now, don't get excited yet because we're not sure what we can spend that funding on. The HUD's Office of Affordable Housing Preservation expects to issue guidance for this home funding in the fall, and then after which PJs will develop an action plan amendment, which is, if anybody in the CDBG world, we've done a lot of CARES funding amendments here lately, so it looks like we're going to be doing one for this program too, and then hopefully receive the grants. So once we do get that guidance, Irene, depending on what it says, Bluff City may get some extra money. I don't know how they're going to want us to spend that. If we can just allocate it like our normal rehab, reconstruction, or home ownership projects, then you guys will definitely be allotted some extra funds.
Well, we have quite a few people that need some help.
Everybody has people on the wait list, and I wish that we could help more people, but I totally get it, and we will get you money if we possibly can.
Well, what about, is there something else that we can do that would make the percentage go up since Bluff City's percentage is so low?
Well, that's why you get the flat 10,000, because you would not.
10,000 will hardly do anything. And there's a lot of people out there. I see all these other cities getting these big, huge amounts of money, and then Bluff City gets 10,000.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't understand that. If Bluff City was standing alone, would they get more money?
Well, if you were standing alone, you would have to ask THDA to fund you through a separate home program. I can't answer that for you. I have no idea. The only other way that you would be able to get funding is if this consortium board wanted to change up their percentages and gift Bluff City some additional funds.
I wish they would think about it, because like I said, 10,000 is not very much. And when people ask me about, wanting to do this and wanting to do that, I just have to say, well, the money is gone and there's nothing else I can do. But that's not a good answer for anybody, especially when they find out that we get $10,000.
Sure, I understand. I don't foresee it for this year, but I think that is something that we can discuss for future allocations.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Christina?
Yes.
What are those percentages based on? Is it population or?
It is. And you know what? I will show you that percentage really quickly. I have it up here. Bear with me, guys. Oh man, that's gonna take forever. Hang on. All right, so this is the percentage that has been approved for several years. Program administration is a HUD expense, and that's 10% of our total grant. CHOTO set aside is what it is. That's also 15% minimum of the total grant. And then Bristol, Tennessee gets 11%, Bristol, Virginia gets 9%, Kingsport 23%, Johnson City 27%, Bluff City gets that flat 10,000, Sullivan County 17%, and Washington County 13%. And those numbers, you guys have been approving those numbers long before I came on board, but those numbers were based on population and need in certain areas. So Johnson City, Stephen, you guys get the most at 27%, and that is because you have a higher population than everybody else and you have more people to support. But that is why the percentages are where they are.
So the latest census would have populations of each community where we may be able to relook at this then?
Yeah, I think we could legitimately look at it for in the future and talk to HUD about it and see, make sure that they're cool with us changing up these percentages. But I'll be glad to do that. Did that answer your question, Ellen?
No, that was a good answer, and thanks. And maybe in the future we can take a look at it.
Okay, back to the PowerPoint. So, you guys gave me those numbers for the action plan, but I'm wondering, Chairman King, can we just go ahead and get approval? Let's go ahead and get a motion to approve the action plan as presented also, please.
Okay, we actually just did a motion on the transfer for the $15,000 for Bristol, Virginia, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any further discussion on the 2021 HUD action plan? Having heard of none, let's get a motion and a second, please.
I make a motion to accept the 2021 HUD action plan with changes that Christina discussed. And this is Ellen with Bristol.
Thank you.
I'll second that. It's Amber.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's take a vote.
Chairman King.
Yes.
Sarah Green is absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells. Thank you. Okay, Bill Forrester, I'm going to turn it over to you on maybe a potential rehab grant increase.
Okay. As we were discussing before, the material prices have gone through the roof. No pun intended, I guess, but it's really become an issue for us to be able to bring the houses up to code for under the $50,000 due to the material cost and labor. That's the other thing is that our contractors are finding it difficult to find workers at this time to assist with these projects. We've had this done in other communities where they've raised or increased the rehab amount in order to allow us to get these projects completed. As I mentioned before, a 2x4 that used to be, $1.99 or $2.25 is now $7 something, and it just goes on from there. They're saying that at Bantech, which is your flooring or your wood that you put down before you put down your actual flooring, has gone up tremendously. OSB is out just sky high. So everything is costing more. And again, it's just becoming difficult for our inspector to actually get these projects done for under the $50,000. On our THDA projects, we actually can go above that 50,000, but we feel like that 50,000 is probably a good number to keep everybody under. But we feel like we can get it done for that amount. Are there any
guys,
questions?
just to remind you guys, we do have our substantial housing rehab is currently at a maximum of 40,000 hard costs.
Right.
And so what Bill's asking for is an additional 10,000. That does not include soft costs, which is, the project manager and visual assessments and stuff like that. But it would be $50,000 in hard costs for the actual project.
Okay, and I guess we're going to need a vote for that.
Yes, sir.
Anybody got anything else to add? And I guess we'll need a motion and a second, please.
I make a motion that we increase the substantial housing max, rehab max to $50,000 for construction costs.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Let's take a vote, please.
Thank you. Chairman King.
Yes.
Sherry Green's absent. Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Thank you. Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells.
Yes.
Thank you all. Woo, lots of changes happening today, but that's good. Okay, last but not least on this new business is we, in lieu of recent events that have happened in the Consortium area, the city of Bristol, Tennessee, we have had several meetings with our city manager, our city attorney, and Tim Beavers, who is our development services director. We have actually decided to change up and add an additional, we had some stuff on conflict of interest, but there wasn't enough on our application. So we have updated the Home Consortium applications to read as such. And this is on like what they would say. Are either of you or your spouse an employee of or related to any individual who is an employee of the local government or agency administering this grant? An employee includes elected and appointed officials, as well as full-time, part-time, and temporary employees. Qualified applicants who answer yes to this question may still receive assistance, but we would need the relationship explained. So, conflict of interest has changed significantly over the past 10, 15 years. And I don't know if maybe, I do know we just need to make sure that the people that we are helping are documented that they do not. And if they do, we'll need to talk to HUD to see if you can, move forward with helping those folks. So we have already done this. But it would probably be a good thing for you guys just to go ahead and approve this change to our application. So, Chairman King, we will need one more motion, second, and roll call.
Okay.
I am sorry.
Does anybody else want to make a comment before we take a motion? So can we get a motion and a second to approve?
I will make a motion to approve. This is Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote.
Chairman King.
Yes.
Amber Torbett.
Yes.
Ellen Tolton.
Yes.
Stephen Freeman.
Yes.
Jessica McMurray.
Yes.
And Mayor Wells.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Make sure we get that on there.
Anything else under new business? Okay. We can now move to announcements.
So that American Rescue Plan is what we talked about, getting the additional $4 million for the Home Consortium program. However, we're not sure how we can spend it yet, so more details coming soon, Chairman.
Will that need to be, our next meeting is scheduled for July 13th. Are we going to have time during that time, if something comes up, or that should be adequate time to maybe have a further update?
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
It wouldn't hold anything up then. I guess we could call a meeting if we had to, correct?
Correct. Yeah, if we needed to do a call meeting, we can do that.
Okay. Well, I do know that our future meeting is set for July 13th. And in between now and then, I think we're moving to where we can go back live for meetings, I feel like. But I would like, if anyone is hesitant about meeting live, and we don't know how the governor is going to react as well, what his future guidance is going to be for meetings such as this. So, but if anyone has any issues or any reservations about meeting live, just contact Christina. I feel like we should be in pretty good shape in July, and I am hoping that our future meetings with the city council are going to move to a live format, although we've had a little bit of a spike in Sullivan in our area. And so I think we're kind of fluid when it comes to that. But anything further that anybody needs to, but I'm hoping we meet live in July. Has anybody got anything further they want to discuss or bring to our attention? Okay, having heard of none, I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Take care.